She had the typical American Christian family life, married to her childhood sweetheart, working as a nurse, living in a country town with her husband and 3 daughters.
I'll lay down with you. I don't want to look at woolly boogers. I look ugly. See my hair. Billy. I'm a silly Billy. I love you.
Then her life drastically changed when it was invaded by something. Something that nearly destroyed all that was dear to her. Her home was invaded by an apparition who soon began speaking to her youngest child. Out of the Darkness is the story of a woman, a wife and mother, and her battle with demonic possession. She turned to her faith. She turned to her family. She turned to experts in the paranormal. But things grew worse with every effort. As she became consumed by the evil darkness, she was unable to shield her children from it. Her own demons were buried deep in her past. Over a torturous 2-year period, her family, her career, and her life unraveled. If it happened to her, it could happen to you. What would you do? Out of the Darkness by Joyce Stinson, available at Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble.
Hey everybody, welcome to Do You Believe on Paranormal Zone TV. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight. I just played you a little intro that Joy had produced for her book and her story. Now tonight my guest is Joyce Stinson, and she has written a book called Out of the Darkness. And Out of Darkness, and tonight this is her story along with Jereme Leonard, who was the paranormal investigator on her case. So everyone, let's welcome Joy and Leonard to the show. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
You're very welcome.
Joy,
thanks for having us.
Oh, sure. I did a show with Jereme because Jereme's side was the paranormal investigation side, and Joy is the victim in this case. So why don't we start with Joy? Joy, would you please tell everybody how this all came about and what happened?
Well, I went on a girls' night out trip to the Myrtles Plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana. It was just supposed to be a girls' night out. We were spending one night. We stayed in the caretaker's cabin. We just had a good time. I didn't really realize that anything detrimental had happened. And I honestly, at that point, I didn't really know if I believed in the paranormal. I didn't know if I even believed in ghosts. So, that's the way it unfolded. And when I got home from the Myrtles the next day, I downloaded my pictures to the computer, and I had demonic images on some of my pictures. And it disturbed me greatly. I asked the other ladies if they had this on their film as well, and they did not. And I wondered why me, and I was very intrigued by it, because I had this demonic face in 2 or 3 pictures in different locations at the plantation. Soon after, it was 2 days after exactly, actually, that my 2-year-old started saying there was a mean man and a black dog in her room. And we kind of blew her off, thinking she had heard us talking about the pictures. And, we put her in bed night after night with night terrors, screaming. She wouldn't stay asleep 1 or 2 hours. She'd wake up screaming again in terror. And, it went on for about a month steady until I started seeing things too. And then I realized that we had a problem.
Jereme, do you want to step in as well on this case?
Yeah, sure. The initial phone call with Joy when she contacted the team that I was with at the time, she told us the story, of going to the Myrtles plantation, and she captured an orb with what she claimed was an orb, and it had a demonic face, and it even had fangs. Well, as a paranormal investigator, you just kind of shrub that off as it's just a piece of dust. And that's what we thought it was, going into the case. And even after we got there, you kind of come to the conclusion, how do you tell them nicely that it's just a piece of dust without them getting upset and throwing you out of their house, right?
Mm-hmm.
But certain things transpired that night when we arrived, especially with me, that pretty much changed my whole course of what I was trying to perceive at the time.
Well, in your book, because you take the paranormal investigating side of it, you had never known, I believe you had never known about what demons and what they were, and you wanted to investigate that?
Well, you see, yeah, exactly. I mean, look, I grew up as a Baptist, in Southern Baptist. In Sunday school, you learn about demons as a metaphor, and that's all I ever really thought of a demon. You think of it as a metaphor, not really a physical, spiritual being, that could actually hurt people. I had no idea that could happen, for one, and two, that's as far as my knowledge went, as far as my knowledge on demons at the time.
Mm-hmm. Now, what else? I remember when we did the first show, Jereme, do you guys remember? Now, Joy, how did you get a hold of Jereme? What happened to you that you needed to get a hold of a paranormal investigator?
Well, we had already had a couple of teams come in with no results to satisfy my, feelings about it. And we had a psychic medium come in, and after she left, we had more than one or two spirits. We were just infested with spirits, and it was just crazy. And I was just desperate. I was in desperation to find help.
Mm-hmm. And what was? Now I know I have videos. I have clips from the family, what was happening in the house. I also have pictures. Now, so is there anything to do with the history? I know you have you live in a farmhouse, and I'm showing the pictures of this old house that you live in. Did the house have anything to do with it?
I really don't think so. I mean, when my husband and I married and moved there, we heard like bumps in the night, but I just contributed to being an old house. Mm-hmm. We joked about having a friendly ghost, but there was nothing significant at all, really. We were just, being silly.
So, so these pictures, these images that you sent me, were those taken before anybody got involved in your case or after?
After.
All right.
It got severe.
And was it Jereme that was the one that was involved with this?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to show the viewers the picture of what you call as a demon. The blue picture, Jereme, do you remember that?
Yeah, that's the boss in the laundry room. Yeah.
All right, now you really sound muffled, Jereme.
Well, if it gets too bad, you can just call me from the regular line.
Guys, let me know if the audio bothers you, because I can call Jereme on a regular phone line. All right, so, well then, Jereme, do you want to continue on with your part of the investigation and how you got involved with Joy?
Yeah, sure. Joy had originally contacted us and told us this crazy story that she went to the Myrtles plantation, and now she had a demonic entity in her home, and she wanted help. And we had a regional TV show at the time. Basically all we did was go into locations, film it, make it into a 45-minute episode and turn it into the TV station. We told her that, we'll come in and film, but we don't know anything about, demons or anything like that. We don't know how to get rid of them. But if you'll let us use the footage and put it on TV, sure, we'll be glad to come. She agreed, and we always want to do a pre-investigation before we bring the whole crew, because there's obviously a lot of equipment and everything that goes with it. So we agreed to meet her that Friday evening, I think. Me and my partner headed toward Mount Hermon, which is probably about an hour drive from where we're at. People, when you talk about the country, this is the country. I know I sound country, but believe me, it's a lot worse than I sound. We actually went on about an hour goose chase to even find the house because the GPS was going wacko crazy. Finally, we found the home. We pulled up in the driveway, and I've talked to Joy on the phone previous to this, and you're thinking, this is going to be, your average healthy woman. Well, actually, when she opened the door, there was this frail, kind of hunched over lady that obviously has not slept in days. The red in the eye from sleep deprivation. So we come into the house, and she sits at the computer immediately and starts showing us the pictures. Now, obviously, from a paranormal investigator standpoint, we could really tell that this obsession with these photographs has really started to take over her life. Just by the way she was showing it. I mean, she knew every detail, every pixelation of those pictures. She knew everything there was to know about those pictures. My initial thought whenever I seen the orb that she caught in the back with the things, it kind of looked like it had things in it, but, as a paranormal investigator, that's just dust. And unless it's, got like a little cod trail behind it, or it looks like a ball of plasma, you just kind of throw it out. When in doubt, throw it out. So that's what we were doing. And I remember her talking to me, and she looks my way, and for like a fraction of a second, her eyes turned black. I don't know.
Okay, hey, Jereme on the phone now. All right, so Jereme, continue with your story about the involvement with Joy and the children.
So after we arrived, she's sitting at the computer desk, and we're kind of leaning against the bar, and she's showing us the picture, and she looks up at me, and for like a fraction of a second, I see her eyes transform from white to black. I don't know if it was solid black or if it was just like a reptilian or like a cat eye. Mm-hmm. It happened so fast. I really tried to convince myself at the time that it was just my imagination, because we thought we were going into a demonic location. So immediately after that, I kind of politely dismissed myself from the conversation between them two. I wanted to kind of get away from her because come on, she was freaking me out. So I kindly grabbed the K2 meter and I dismissed myself. And the way the house is built, there's the old farmhouse, and then there's the new part, and right in the middle there's a long hallway that goes completely through the middle of the home. I grab the K2 meter, I turn it on, I walk through the back part of the hall, and I come to the master bedroom. Well, I remember her telling us that, the master bedroom is where a lot of the activity was, so I'm thinking to myself, I'm by myself, I ain't going in there, so I'll just make a left-hand turn here and go into the bathroom. Mm-hmm. Well, when you walk into the bathroom, if you're standing in a doorway, immediately to your right, there is a double vanity sink there, and there is a huge mirror that covers the whole entire wall. I guess it's probably about 5 to 6 foot tall, maybe 6 to 12 foot long. It's huge. So I turned to go into the doorway of the restroom, of the bathroom, and The K2 meter spikes. It goes all the way to red. Any paranormal investigator, you know, it kind of fluctuates. It'll just like dance. But this thing went all the way to red as if you were just holding it against a light socket. And it stayed there for probably 5 seconds. And it went back to nothing. And then when it went back to green, I happened to look up. And now I'm looking in the mirror. But behind me, standing in the doorway, I see a figure. Now, a lot of people think ghosts, you know, you can see through them. You know, kind of like a cloudy mist or like a fog or something like that. That ain't what I saw. This thing was solid. As solid as another human being standing behind you, which means you could not see anything through him. He was not transparent at all. My eyes kind of gazed at the knees, and the reason they gazed at the knees is because I noticed his fingers, his arm, his hand rather, is right past his kneecap. So as my eyes is tracking up his body, I see this figure that is about 7 foot tall, and I say that because the door frames in a standard house is what, 7 foot tall, and his head come right to the top of the door frame.
Oh.
His arms were extremely long.
Now, isn't that...
Come past his kneecaps.
Didn't we talk about that last time? Like Slender Man. He was an image like Slender Man.
Yeah. You know, that image, the way you describe it, and I actually done a little bit of research because I didn't know anything about the Slender Man, and I remember somebody telling me that, so I went and looked at it, and it does resemble the Slender Man a lot, but the difference being his face. When you get to the face, and obviously he's not as tall as the Slender Man. The way they make the Slender Man is like 12 or 15 foot tall. He's huge.
Yeah.
But this guy is right at 7 foot tall. Now, his head was bald.
Yeah.
And it was shaped like an egg. In other words, it kind of went to a curvy point at the top. He had eyes, but there was nothing else. There was no ears, there were no nose, there was no mouth, there was no nothing. It was just distortion, as if you're watching a movie and, you know, they kind of blur something out that they don't want you to see or whatever. That's what it looked like, but it was over his face. The eyes were the only thing that was there. And this was not one of those things where you thought you saw something. I looked at this thing through the mirror for... Well, it felt like forever, but I'm sure it was at least 5 seconds or so. And I panicked, okay? So, you know, imagine this big, you know, 290-pound man, like a linebacker, come running through the house to where they was.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I just plowed through there.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, could it have been an alien? But... You're saying it was a big, heavy-set person, but of course I've never seen him.
I'm the big, heavy.
Well, do you think
the Slender Man was very? I say Slender Man, but the entity was very slim. It was very slim. There was no, you know, obesity toward it whatsoever.
And it had clothes on?
It had, it did, but all I seen was black. I mean, all I seen was black. I mean, to be honest with you, it almost looked kind of like maybe he had a blackish cloak or something.
Oh, a
like
black
that.
cloak! Oh my God!
He was not wearing a hood. Okay, there was no hood whatsoever.
Oh, he could have been a shadow man.
Well, the shadow man, you would be able to somewhat see through it. This was a very
no, you can't see. You don't see through I've seen a shadow person. You can't see through them.
Yeah, I have too, but there's no detail really in the shadow man. He was very detailed. I mean, I could see the eyes. Now his skin color was not black. His skin color was, I want to say, like a whitish gray kind of thing. It was not a solid black image. Now, the clothing that it would wear, it was what was black. But this image, it had a color to it. It wasn't just, a solid black figure or so on. But
Can I ask Joy? Hey,
Go
let me just ask Joy a question. Joy, have
Yes.
you ever had any visit? Have you ever seen a UFO around your property?
A what?
A UFO.
No, I had no experience with that.
Okay. All right, go ahead. Then I was thinking, well, you've never seen one, but have you ever had any visitations that you've seen or know about?
No,
None. Not
No.
even in your dreams.
no, not at all.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Jereme. That does that. Go ahead.
Okay, so, I didn't know it at the time because I knew nothing about demons or demonology, but later I learned that a demon cannot take the perfect form of a human being. It can resemble them very, very closely, but they cannot take the perfect image of a human being. There's something always odd. They may be missing an arm. They may be missing a leg. They maybe have parts of their body that is simply not there. Okay? That would explain the distortion on the face. Okay? But I did not know this till later after I started studying this stuff. So that, the fact that it did not have a full face is my concrete evidence that indeed it was truly a demon. But there are other events that happens later on that also confirms that it was truly a demon. But anyway, I ran out of there. I grabbed my partner. I said, "Can I talk to you outside?" I went outside and I told him what I saw, and I told him we have to get out of there now. This is beyond us. This is over us. And he said, "I agree." So we went back inside, and we politely told Joy that we would be back in contact with her, knowing we was never going back to the house again.
So then Joy was in the house while you were doing this. Did Joy have any indication at all as to what was going on when you were doing this in the house?
Actually, I did. I was standing in the kitchen and I could see through to the bathroom, and I was just telling his partner that it was forming in the back wall hallway, and I was describing it to his partner, and he saw the same thing that I described. So it was kind of coincidental.
Wow. Right,
Yeah, because I can remember whenever I ran in there and I described it, and my partner is about 6'3". He's this weight. He's a very masculine guy, and he is a man's man, if you want. We think he's tough, And whenever I told him what I saw as we were standing there, Joy was right there. As I described it, I remember his face turned really pale, and he said, "Dude, I know you're not lying because she just got done telling me and describing to me what it looks like, and I know you're deaf and you can't hear crap, so I know you're telling me the truth." And that's when we went outside. Now, when we come back in to tell Joy that we were leaving, we were inside no more than 5 minutes before we went back outside. Previously, when we were outside, there was not a cloud in the sky, calm summer night. No wind, no nothing. 5 minutes later, we walk back outside, and there is no clouds in the sky, but this huge black cloud directly on top of Joy's house. And the wind is blowing 65 plus miles an hour. And the reason I say that is because those big garbage cans that the garbage man picks up, it literally threw it across the yard like it was nothing. That's how hard the wind was actually blowing. We hurried up, threw everything in the car, jumped in the car, and I can remember leaving out the driveway and seeing in the rearview mirror the image of this little frail woman standing in the background, as we're driving away, thinking to herself, "I can't believe y'all are going to leave me." That's just kind of the thought that I got as we were driving away. And the vehicle that we were in had power locks. As we were leaving out, the car was malfunctioning. The locks kept going up and down on its own. My partner's like, "Dude, are you doing it?" I'm like, "No, man, I'm not doing this. Look, here's my hands." And it's steady doing it until we got probably about a half a mile down the road before it stopped.
Joy, what was, after Jereme left then, each time he would come to the house and he would leave, what was happening in your home with you and the children?
It would get worse after they would come and investigate, and of course they'd find evidence, and once they left it would get bad. We'd have to leave. We couldn't even stay in the house at night. My kids were terrified, completely terrified. they would feel like the entities were coming at them, towards them. They were hissing and stomping, and it really scared the kids.
You know, your children were affected by this, and
Yes.
Jereme, would you say the children was getting possessed, that this demon or whatever was getting inside of them, that was having them blurt out these awful things?
No, I don't believe they were under what you would call full possession, because I believe that a child is protected by the blood of Christ until they reach the age of puberty. But what we have is what we call partial possession or jumping, which means the entity will jump from one person to another and have what you call a partial possession, where it will take full function of the body for a period of time. And what was happening was, you see, a demonic entity has rules. As crazy as that sounds, you have what you call an infestation, which means the entity is in the home. You have all the signs of a haunting, but the difference between a demonic haunting and a regular haunting is a demonic haunting is destructive. Okay? Then after that, what happens is the entity finds its target, who it wants to possess. But it still has to get permission from that person to possess them. As crazy as that sounds, that is true. That person has to give that demon permission to possess them. Well, at that point, when it's sought out as target, you have what you call an oppression, which means the entity has bound itself by you. Now all the hauntings seem to happen around you instead of just in general in the home. Everything that happens is when you're there. You know, if you leave the house is calm. You come back home, destructive behavior starts again. And then, you know, later becomes possession. But what it was doing was it was using the children to break Joy down spiritually, mentally, and physically. It had to get her at that weakest point to where she's ready to give up. And what better way to strike a mother than to mess with her children?
Right.
They play dirty. They don't play fair. They play dirty. And that's what was happening. You see, the youngest child, the entity was very sexual towards the youngest child. And Jana, which was the one that you'll hear the clip in a little while that actually went under possession, you know, she was the older child. So, you know, it wasn't sexual toward her, but it was more destructive toward her than it was sexual with the youngest child. I mean, you want to talk about break a mother's heart, is when she sees her little baby girl displaying behavior that no child of that young age should know anything about. You know, that really strikes home.
I can play that video. So let's play a video clip. And there's viewer discretion on these, so I'm just warning you. And I'm going to play, let's play number 1. And this one is, oh God, Jereme, you'll probably remember this is video 1, because I had them in order. And this is where one of the children say, "Suck it and son of a biatch." Which child was that?
The youngest daughter. She was 2 at the time.
All right, I'm going to play this.
That was the one that it was very sexual toward.
All right, I'm going to play this. Okay, got it. So, what was happening? Because she said this. So, what was happening before all this? Before she went into this mode of talking like this?
Well, my 2-year-old was talking to this thing and interacting with it during the day, and at night she was afraid of it. And of course, she couldn't verbalize and tell me what it was saying to her because she was just 2. But so I set up my phone on record and left it in the room by her when I got that recording that you just played. And I left the room, and she interacted with it, and I was just shocked, completely shocked. I never even knew this was possible when I heard a man's voice speaking on the recorder with her. And when what it was saying was even more shocking because it was sexual in nature, and it just blew my mind. It really did.
So then what happened to her after she said this? You saw her doing this, and you must have been recording it. So after she said this, what did you do? Were you able to snap her out of it? What did you do?
No, I wasn't in the room when all that took place. I was in another room in the bathroom getting ready to leave, and I didn't listen to it till later that day. I couldn't hear the thing audibly at the time, but later on that it got so bad that I was able to audibly hear it without recording it, as my children were as well. They could do that. But, she would talk. I would just try to get her away. Later when I could hear it talking, it would wake them up and say, "Wake up and F me." And I would try to go console them, intervene. I was always trying to stay awake to protect them from this thing saying these nasty things to them.
So, and then after that happened, then what did you do? Did you pray? Was this the first incident then of that particular thing?
That was when I realized it was serious, really serious, and beyond my control. When I found out it was actually talking to, there was some actually physical voice talking to her, but I couldn't see anything at the time. It was terrifying. I felt helpless.
All right, then the next incident, the next EVP, where one of your children say "F me." Which one is that? Who did that?
That was a 2-year-old as well. It said "F me," and then she turned around and said, "Are you going to F me?" And I was in the room when that happened, and it totally blew my mind again. And I said, I didn't know what to do. I prayed a lot, but sometimes I thought my praying was just in vain. I was helpless. I felt like I was helpless.
So when she was saying this, what did you do? Just stand there because you couldn't believe what you were saying?
I stood there with my mouth open for a minute, and then I politely got her and we left the room. I would try to leave its presence and pray in another room, but it followed us all over the house. Wherever we went, we could not get away from this thing.
All right, this is the next one. Again, viewer discretion advised, please. Okay, I'm going to play this one.
I don't know about this. I don't know about this.
I'll play it twice.
I don't know about this. I don't know about this. I don't know about this.
Wow, and that's the little one doing that.
Yeah, and too, I felt helpless, Noreen, because every time I would pray, if I would get on my knees and pray, it would push me down on my chest on the floor and hold me there. So it was physically attacking me if I prayed. It did not like me to pray. So I basically stopped praying because I couldn't, I didn't want to be held down with my kids there watching, and they couldn't get me up. It was terrifying to them to see me getting held down on the floor.
So, all right, each one of these incidents, how far apart were they?
Those were all pretty much in a cluster. That happened right before I called Jereme and them. It had really gotten bad at that point, and I was just at my wit's end.
Did they happen in 1 week? Did they happen over a time, like a month period?
About a month's time, yeah.
A month time. All right, so number 3, video 3 is, let me find it, it's UF. And I'm not saying the word, so it's UFUCK. All right, again, I'm playing this, so if you don't want to hear it, turn your computer off, okay? But this is really important to Joy's case as to what was going on, the demonic stuff that was going on in her house. So I'm going to play this. Hold on. This is 3. And it also shows the scratches. Alright, so this one is where we're showing the scratches. and it's the UF. What was that all about?
The scratches actually, they took place a lot later towards the end of the whole thing happening. Jana had already gone under possession, and it was after that she got the scratches. And the baby got the scratches before her, but I never knew what that meant, what was on her chest.
Yeah, they were actually satanic symbols.
Right, I'm showing one of them now. It actually looks like a fork.
Yeah, that is the Triton, our devil's pinch fork. If you look at it, you'll see that it looks like a pinch fork. It has a shaft in it. It has 3 forks at the top. Now, it also means the mark of Trinity, okay, which the number 3 is the mark of Trinity. If you don't know what the Trinity is, supposedly Jesus Christ died on the cross at 3 p.m. So demonic entities will do things in 3. That is why you will have 3 scratches, 3 knocks on the wall. The peak of activity is 3 a.m. because it's a mock against God, because Christ died for our sins at 3 p.m. on the cross. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of in reverse. It's a way to mock God. It's called the Trinity. That's what that is. If you look at it again, it is the Triton or the devil's pinch fork. The other image that you see
now this
will be on the chest,
yes,
and it's kind of an L shape.
Yes.
That is a mark of property, which means that the demon is marking that as his. That's his property.
Now it's
kind of like a pact with the devil.
Really? Is this the youngest child?
Yes.
So he was marking the youngest child as his property?
Yeah.
I honestly felt like during this time that the spirit was jumping from my oldest daughter to my youngest daughter. They would both have periods where they would use profanity against me, and it was something that my 2-year-old would not say, nor my 9-year-old at the time. And I really believe that it was the spirit influencing them to say these things to me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because when Jana would go under partial possession, if you listen to the clip that she's going to play later, after this incident took place, Joy had called me. And so immediately after hearing this, I decided to go to the house. Well, you get to the house, there's Jana sitting on the couch, you know, playing, I don't even remember what it was, playing with a coloring book or a video game, I don't even remember. But, you know, I'll sit there. I always try to make the kids feel comfortable with me. You know, kind of like a big teddy bear. Mm-hmm. That way they would be open and they would talk to me. Well, Jana, I said, I heard you had a rough day today. She says, what do you mean? I said, your mama told me you had fits. And she simply says, that wasn't me. I said, what do you mean that wasn't you? It wasn't me, it was him. Mm-hmm. So, you know, even though when they would go under possession, they may not have actually had any recollection of what happened when they were under, but they knew enough to know what he was doing, mm-hmm. or what it was doing, rather. And I don't even want to give it the word he is it.
And these weren't happening at night. These were happening during the day.
Oh yeah, look, it could happen at any time. Look, you know, my phone, when Joy would call me, you know, I would almost be hesitant to answer my phone because I just knew either she completely lost it and ended up killing the entire family or something. I just knew something bad was going to happen. It was literally like a time bomb that was ticking, and it was going to come to a head one way or another. You know, either she was going to end up in a mental institution, which she did for a period of time. Her family actually had her admitted. They only held her for, 24 or 48 hours because
I was actually there for 6 days.
Evaluation. Okay, I want to make it clear, Joy is a very intelligent woman. She was an RN nurse. You know, she had a life. You know, she had friends. She was an avowed Christian. They went to church. Her children could tell you anything about God. Okay? And that goes to show you that what kind of family they were. Now, how does this happen to a family like that? A lot of people believe that it can't happen. It's not real. But believe me, it's very, very real.
Joy, how long did they have you, how long were you in that institution?
For 6 nights. I was told by the Child Protection Services who came to investigate the claim that that was the best way to clear my name was to go be psychologically evaluated, and I did, and I ended up staying there 6 nights because one counselor, really, he thought I was delusional, but everyone else believed me, thank goodness. They didn't offer me any medication or anything. I was not diagnosed with anything. I was released after 6 days. I went through a gamut of oral and written tests and passed everything.
And so your family wasn't around you who's the one that had you committed?
I heard that I don't know this for a fact, but I heard that my mother reported me to Child Protection after Jana was possessed because I had a family member come actually witness that, and she went and tried to tell my mother that it was indeed true, that this was not just a temper tantrum, this child was possessed. And my mother thought, this is drawn. She drew the line. She said, "Oh gosh, Joy's lost her mind," and I heard she called Child Protection.
Mm-hmm. My God. I also have a picture of one of your children in the back of a car, and there's actually an image of a skull in the back window.
That was my oldest daughter.
Yeah, that photograph was actually taken, Joy, I believe you took that photograph the day after we actually came and done the investigation for the second time. I remember you said y'all had to leave that night after we left because it got so bad. Y'all went to a hotel, and the youngest one told you that he's here. He followed y'all.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
You see, because, Noreen, after that happened, we left. I called my partner the next day because the one thing that kept standing out to me was I pictured those 3 kids' face. Okay? And I remember picturing this mattress in the living room where they all would sleep at night with Bibles and crucifixes all the way around it. That image stuck in my mind for some reason. So I told my partner, we got to go back. And he's like, at first he didn't want to go, but then finally I convinced him. And we went back and done the full-blown investigation. Now, considering what happened the first night we were there, you would think, man, the doors are going to blow wide open, right? But that's not what happened. We got the whole team there. For the most part, it was fairly quiet. But when we went into the youngest child's room, the one that the entity was very sexual with, the one that you heard in the video clips, we went into the room and we set up 2 K2 meters, one on each side of the room. And we started asking questions. And I remember the K2 meters started going off as we was asking questions like, what do you want with the children here? I mean, it was fluctuating. It was going all the way to the red. And I remember my partner had said, you can't hurt us because God is with us. Or my God is stronger than your God. And all of a sudden, everything stopped. There was dead silence, no meters going off, no nothing. And all of a sudden, now you got to remember, we're in a dark room here. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden we hear this voice. Very light, childlike voice say something. And it really startled us. I mean, it scared the hell out of us, to be honest. And we was like, I remember my partner saying, dude, did you hear that? What is that? And then we heard it again. Well, we didn't realize that the baby was in the bed. Joy had forgot to tell us that the baby was actually in the bed. And what had happened is she stood up and she said, the mean man's outside now. We had the video, and we would play it back, and that's actually what she was saying. She was saying the mean man is outside now. So apparently at that point, when my partner started using Bible references, it fleed and went out the window, and the child knew exactly where it went. Which we thought was amazing. Now, the other main thing that happened that night was we went to Joy's bedroom, which is where a lot of the activity and the attacks were happening with Joy, and we was using the spirit box, and we said, "What do you want?" And it said, "Kids, kids, kids." Again, here we go with the three references. The mock of Trinity, right? Mm-hmm. 3. Kids, kids, kids. And I remember saying, "You're a sick pervert." And it says, F you, F you, F you 3 times. Believe me, it didn't hold its tongue when it comes to vulgar language. And then after that, we got Joy to ask, "What did it want?" And Joy asked, "What did it want?" And it said, "Jaina, Jaina, Jaina 3 times," which is Joy's oldest daughter, the one that went under possession at the time. Which was pretty frightening. But other than that, nothing else really happened. Now, we did happen to catch an anomaly on the surveillance system in the front room, which looked like a little small ball of light that kind of went from the floor and it went into the ceiling. It went to the fan and it actually stopped at one point, and then it shot off. Now, after that, we went home. The team that I was with never went back to the house.
Oh, really?
But I did. I spent probably the next 6 months or so with Joy and the kids. Now, I didn't stay there, all the time, but it was basically, us at this point, because there was no one else to turn to. What I had tried to do was I tried to go to the religious figures. I went to a Baptist church because I was Baptist, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm going to go to a Baptist church. I'm going to tell the minister what's going on. Maybe they can get a deliverance team in there and pray over the house and so on. Well, I told the preacher what was going on, and he basically shunned me. "Son, what are you doing involved in that? Do you know how dangerous that is?" I'm like, "Yeah, but there's 3 little girls here involved," which basically he didn't want to hear that. So, okay, well, I'm not going to get anything here, so let me go to the Catholic Church. They deal with this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll get her some help. So I went to the Catholic Church. The priest basically told me the same thing. And he said, if you really feel that you need some help, there's a process we have to go through that could be 6 months or so. Well, we don't have 6 months. She could go off the deep end tomorrow. Yeah. So there was no religious figures to go to, especially down here in the South. So who else is going to help? Nobody. I felt that even though I knew nothing about demons or demonology or how to fight this thing or anything, I was the best chance they had. And I think Joy felt the same way, that I was the best chance that they had, even though I knew nothing.
We had just about every denomination of religion come through prior to Jereme being involved.
Joy, just a minute. Just a minute, Joy. He didn't hear you. Joy wants to say something. Go ahead, Joy.
I was just saying that prior to Jereme and them coming, we went through just about every religious denomination looking for help. And they couldn't help. I mean, I felt like I had to turn somewhere. And Jereme was always there to listen, and he was always sympathetic. And, I could call him and felt comfortable talking to him, whether these religious people, after a while, if they prayed and it didn't work, and they would shun you.
In Jereme's book, he has an incident with you when you went to Honduras. Do you mention that in your book at all?
Yes, I do.
All right. Would you tell the viewers about that, or?
Well, we had actually.
Okay, hold on. Let me go back a little bit then. So when you first went to Jereme, tell the story, because you told me this the last time that you were on the show with me. How you thought she didn't. Okay, go ahead and tell the story. How she had gone to the Myrtles.
Well, what I would do is probably for 2 or 3 months, I would go to work and I would come home and study anything that I possibly could on the subject of demons. I almost could say I've got obsessed with it. So, everything that I was reading did not add up. And I called Joy, no, I didn't call her. I actually called her and told her I was coming over, and I showed up at her house. And I told Joy, I said, look, I've been studying this for a long time now, and everything that I'm getting is, how can something like this, a demon, come from the Myrtles plantation? Thousands of people go to the Myrtles plantation every year, okay, and they don't bring home no demon. So how does a demon follow you home from the Myrtles plantation? It does not make sense. That is not where it comes from. And that's basically when I said, Joy, you have to tell me the truth. I mean, you have to tell me everything. It's not that I didn't think she was telling me the truth. It's just that, it was not adding up. So finally she...
Oh, okay, so Jereme, now let me have Joy tell her story, okay? Hold it right there. Okay, so Joy, now, what happened when Jereme said that to you?
Well, I realized that I was going to have to come clean and tell them what had happened. I intended for that to stay a secret and take it to my grave. I was very ashamed and embarrassed about that, but everybody kept telling me, this couldn't just happen from going to the Myrtles, that this was something stronger. I was asked if I was involved in witchcraft. I'd been playing the Ouija board, and of course I said no to all those things, which I had not done those things. But I finally had to confess that I'd had an incident with a satanic ritual in Honduras before I was married, and I was actually raped in a satanic ritual, and I believe that's where it all started.
How old were you?
I was 24.
A satanic ritual? Why did they pick you for this ritual?
I think after looking back, and everything does make sense now, they picked me because I was a virgin, and I was menstruating at the time. And they needed my menstrual blood, because the blood to them is power, just like Jesus' blood is power to us. And that's what they needed at this time. And on this, I think it was during the summer solstice in June is when this occurred. And that's a holiday for them, or religious, whatever, pagan holiday, that they usually sacrifice babies or virgins.
Oh my God. But how did you get mixed up with that?
Well, the translator for our group, we were on a medical mission, and the translator for my group kept wanting me to go. He was flirting with me, and I told him, I'm engaged to be married, I'm not interested. But he asked me one day, he said, would you like to go into the village and let me translate for you, and you can see how the villagers live. And of course, I was very intrigued with the way they lived. They were very primitive. We were in a mountainous region, and I did. I left the camp with him, and we weren't supposed to leave the camp, but I did. I left with him. I trusted him. We went to a couple homes and did just what he had said, and the third home, I knew I was in trouble when the door opened, because the room was entirely black. There was no furniture in the room. There was a circle drawn in the floor, and candles, and I was in trouble. And I didn't think anything like this existed. I mean, I'd seen it on television, but that was it. I was shocked.
Oh my God. How long did they keep you captive?
I don't know really how much time had passed. I mean, it was all a blur as far as that goes. They to remove my clothes, they tied my arms and legs in an X shape and pulled me into an X shape. There was a man at my arms, and there was two men holding my legs. And then they had the guy that was doing the ritual. He actually had a stick. It looked more like a sawed-off broomstick or something like that, of that nature. And he dipped it in blood, and he was flicking it all over me, slinging the blood on me. In my face, they were chanting. He actually removed my tampon because, like I said, I was menstruating at the time, and I was violated anally and vaginally with a stick of blood.
Oh my God!
Very brutal, and honestly, I did not think I was going to live. I really thought they were going to kill me.
Oh my God! What happened? What happened when they finished their ritual?
They cleaned me up, and I went back to the camp, and I never said a word. I was in a daze, basically.
Oh my God! Were you able to find your way back to the camp? That obviously that man that led you there.
Yeah, he led me back to the camp as if nothing had happened.
Oh my God! And did you say anything to him?
I did not say a word to him. He did not say a word to me.
Oh. Oh my God!
I was too ashamed and embarrassed that I had been so ignorant to get involved in that and did not, I was very, very naive.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, that's horrible. So, when you went back to the United States and to your home, you were still single at that time?
Yeah, I was engaged to be married, but I wasn't married yet.
And then when you got married, how soon after that was anything happening before you had children?
No.
So none of this demonic stuff, activity, nothing, none of the hauntings, nothing happened until you had children?
The only thing that I can say that could have possibly been demonic is I started having health problems, and I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and scoliosis, unusual health problems for my age, and some people say that's demonic.
Do you still have those symptoms today?
I do.
Oh, you do. Then what happened? Then how did this progress? Okay, you hadn't told Jereme. You got married. Then you had children. But when they were first born, and you've had 3 of them, let's see, the youngest was how old?
2.
2. Is this when it started?
Yeah, it was when she was 2 is when it started. It was explained to me that the reason I had things happen after I went to the Myrtles is I was like a magnet because I had already had involvement with demonic beings, and I was like a magnet when I went to the Myrtles. So I honestly think something did follow me from there because of what had happened to me in the past.
And you hadn't a clue that possibly because of that satanic ritual might have been involved. So you came clean with... So Jereme, Joy told you her story. Then what happened?
Well, after she told me the story, all of a sudden it makes perfect sense to me because even though this happened numerous years before, you have to understand the blood ritual that they were doing was they were allowing demons to enter her body. Okay? Now, a demonic entity will lay dormant. They can lay dormant for years before they become active. You have to understand how a demon works. A demonic entity is going to attack when you're at your weakest point, okay, because it's easier for them. Again, they don't play fair. Okay, Joy had, even though the demon was there, it still had to have that doorway. And the doorway would be like playing with the Ouija board, for example. That is opening the door. Well, when Joy had got diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, she was physically weak. Okay, which gave the demon an advantage. Okay, but it still, again, needed that doorway. Well, when she went to the Myrtles plantation, she saw that photograph. She became obsessed with that photograph, which is just as bad as playing with the Ouija board. She opened herself up because of her obsession with the photograph. That gave the entity the right to start the infestation, and that's when it all started. So yeah, it made perfect sense to me. At first I was a little upset because we had spent numerous months prior, trying to fight this thing, not knowing where the source is. When you're dealing with a demonic entity, it's very important to know the source of where it's coming from in order to know how to get rid of it. So when she told me this, I felt that I had the advantage. Now, I knew where it comes from. So what I would do is I would go into the house and I would read Bible verses and I would call it out. I know where you come from now. You come from Honduras. You have no power here anymore. You have no power over Joy's life. We beat you. We won. And it never physically attacked me. I would go into the house and I would curse this thing. I would say stupid stuff. I would call it a coward. I would call it God only knows. Now remember, I did not know anything about demonology or even how dangerous it could be at the time. It never physically attacked me, but what it would do is it would mock me. And the way it would mock me is it would make oinking noises, like oink, oink, oink. I'm hard of hearing, so I always wear earphones and an amplifier when I investigate so I can hear everything. And would hear it through the amplifier. And as time went on, it again, like Joy, it became more audible to where I could hear it with my own ears. I would go into the house and I would say all of these things. Well, for a short period of time, it kind of seemed to calm down, which, I was all excited, man. I knew what I was doing, I was like, and then it picked up again. Well, then Joy calls me, and she met this Pentecostal preacher that specialized in spiritual warfare. He was going to come and free her of her demons. So I said, okay, well, I want to be at the house whenever it happens. When's he coming? She said, he'll be here this afternoon. So I immediately went to Mount Hermon, and I got there before everybody else again. I went into the house and basically told him, he's coming for you. He's going to get rid of you. You can't hurt those kids no more. Well, when the preacher showed up, we were standing, Joy has like a carport, and when he pulled up, he got out of the car, and he's a big guy. I'd say he weighs about 325 pounds, somewhere around there. And as soon as his feet gets to the concrete where we're at, he's thrown face first down to the floor. Something that you can't imagine this, okay, for a minute. Imagine the horror. You're standing there, and you see this grown, big man go to the ground by something you cannot see. And it's obviously holding him down because he is kicking and screaming and squirming around like a fish out of water to break free of this thing. And it held him down for a couple of seconds. And finally he gets up and he runs to his car, jumps in his car, and tells Joy not to ever contact him again or ever set foot in his church. Imagine the horror for me, because I was just in the house 30 minutes before calling a thing a coward, and that could have been me easily. And if that would have happened to me at the time, probably, to be honest with you, Doreen, I probably would have had a heart attack. And I would have probably died right there on the spot.
I have 3 more audio clips. Let's play those, okay? Now, this one is entitled Screaming. I think this is the oldest daughter screaming at you, Joy?
It was when she was under possession.
She was under possession? Okay.
I think so.
And I think she was also using obscene vocabulary as well. All right, hold on, everybody. Warning, there's a warning on this. If you don't want to hear any obscene talking, close your audio or your volume. All right, hold on. Hold on, I'm going to play it. Clip 4. Okay. I'll play it twice. Alright, so what had happened before this started happening, that she started screaming?
Well, we were just eating supper one night, and she stood there with her hand on her nose, saying her nose was burning, and she was just totally disrupting our meal. So I got up and took her outside to try to calm her down. And for some reason, I just could look in her eyes and see that it was not my child there. And I looked down at her, and I said, I think, "Get behind me, Satan," I think I said to her face. And she shoved me backwards and said, "F you, Mommy," and or F you, B word, She was very disruptive, just physically attacking me. And my husband came out and got her, threw her over his shoulders, took her inside, took her to our bedroom, and threw her on the bed. And she was just bouncing around all over the room. She was, chanting and screaming and yelling and ranting and raving. And my husband actually pulled a gun out at one point, and I was like, what in the world are you doing? You can't shoot it. So we didn't know what to do. We were completely ignorant. I started calling people and asking them, to come help. People would say, "Well, just pray." And I'm like, this is beyond praying right now. We need somebody that knows what they're doing. And it was very scary to see my child like this, because I didn't know what to do.
How long did it take for her to calm down and to come back?
It took probably a couple of hours. She calmed down. And what's significant is while she was under possession, there was something talking through her, but there was also something external to her talking that called her name and said, Jaina, you're God now. And, so she was being influenced in both directions.
There's actually a clip of that where you could actually hear, and Noreen, you have it.
I do, yeah.
We played it last time,
yeah.
Where you could actually hear the demon itself say, we're even stronger than God now.
Okay, let me play that. I do have that clip. Hold on, let me play it. Let me find it. Okay, I've got it. Hold on, I'm going to play that clip. So, explain it again to the viewers before I play this.
Well, while she was under possession, we had left the room for a few minutes to let her calm down and chill out, and we regroup ourselves. And while we were gone, the recording was still going on the dresser, and it picked up this male voice saying, Jaina, you're even God now, or stronger than God now, or something to that effect.
All right.
Yeah, it says we're even stronger than God now.
Okay, and this, okay, hold on, I'm going to play this. All right, I'm going to play it. You there, Jereme? I'll play it several times. So after she'd said that, then what happened? What was going on?
Well, I had spoke with her, and she never replied to that demon. So whether she heard it or not, what it said, I don't know. But we eventually came back in the room, and it all progressed, and she calmed down. But she has no recollection of what happened.
You sent me, I have some other pictures, and I really can't make them out, because I think it's kind of dark for the viewers. It looks like maybe, this is, okay, so Joy, this is number 2048, and Jereme, I also sent you the same clips. It's labeled 2048. Who's the one that took this picture?
I took that picture. It was, the entity was coming through the door facing. If you look closely, you can see one of his eyes and his nose. He's coming through the door. It's like white. It looks white mist.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can bring it up closer to the viewers. I just did a zoom in on this.
Because it would appear in the walls, and I know that sounds crazy, but it traveled through the walls, and it would sometimes pull out like 3D. The shape would pull out the wall and come towards you.
Kids call them balloon people. That's actually what the girls would call them, was balloon people.
I see an image on the wall. I'm showing them the image on the wall. Here's another image that's on the wall. And then this is image 2073. I guess this is on the shower door.
Yeah, that's when she called us into the bathroom and said, "Hey, Mommy, look what he's doing." And it was as if an invisible finger were drawing in the soap bubbles on the door, and it formed that shape. And I took pictures, of course, to document.
And, speaking of that shower in that bathroom, I've seen the entity in that bathroom. There was that picture with the youngest baby, and you remember when you was in the bathroom and you were talking to a female minister and you blacked out, and when you blacked out, there were several text messages that was sent to this minister, but they were in Latin. Now, believe me, Joy knows nothing of how to spell Latin or even how to speak Latin. But there was several text messages that were sent to the minister that was in Latin. And basically, I had it translated. I can't remember exactly what it said, but basically it said, "Back off, bitch, she's mine."
In Latin? When it was...
Yeah, it was actually Portuguese, I believe, Jereme.
Portuguese?
Wasn't it Portuguese?
I can't remember. It may have been because I had asked anybody if they knew Latin and on Facebook, and the girl told me she did, and I sent it to her. So, I mean, maybe she sent it back and said it was Portuguese. I don't know, but I believe it was Latin, but it could have been. But anyway, but that's basically what the translation was.
Oh my
Regardless,
God.
I didn't know language besides English.
All right, there's image now 2079, but I'm having it's really a dark image. Can you
Yeah, I
can
was
you
lying in the bed that night, and there were two entities approaching, one at the foot of the bed and one coming around the bed from the door. And that's what there's two white images. I don't know if you can see them.
No, it's at the foot of, let me see if I can zoom in on it. It's at the foot of the bed?
Yeah, one is to the left picture, and the other one's kind of to the right by the footboard coming up by the bed.
Okay, I zoomed in, but I don't know. It's really a dark image. I don't know if anybody can see it. All right, now what about image 28? Oh my gosh, what 2080? What is that?
That is the demonic spirit in front of my face. When I was driving, anytime I would drive, I could feel it getting around my face. I don't know how to explain that, but I would go into like a trance-like state. I would get very groggy. I'd have to pull over. I think it was trying to make me wreck, actually. But that night, I could feel it forming, in front of my face, and I took some selfies of myself, and that's what came out. This thing was in front of my face. And that was not the only picture I had this way. A lot of times my kids would say that they'd get in front of my face, and they wouldn't even look at me. My 2-year-old would put her hands over her face because she couldn't look at me because I had a demon in front of me. It looked like the demon and not mommy.
And that was a selfie, and that's how it came out.
Yeah.
Oh my
And you
God.
can see it's a man's face over mine.
Oh my.
One of the eyes is looking deviated to the side, and it's awful. And the forehead's kind of distorted.
All right, can you guys see that image? I don't need to zoom out on that one. Let me try that. I don't think I can zoom out on that one. Hold on. Hold on. All right, here, hold on. I can make this image smaller. Hold on. All right. Does this help? Is this any better? You could see where there's like a double exposure. There's something on and this. Now, Joy is a beautiful woman. This is not Joy. This image is not Joy.
No, and I had consecutive pictures. I didn't send those all to you, but consecutive pictures where you can see that every picture gets a little more visible. You can see his face clearer. And that was not uncommon. That's what he did to me.
One where you could almost see as if it has its hands. Somebody would walk up behind you and cover your eyes with their hands. There's actually one image that she has. I don't see it in here, but you could almost see like the fingers of the entity with, as if he's masking her eyes. Maureen, do you have the picture of the entity that's all in black?
Yes, I'm showing that.
That you showed the last time?
This is actually what Joy gave me. It's 2082. Look at that image. It's a black, like a black shadow.
Let me see, 2082.
There were two figures standing side by side.
Yeah, that's the two shadow figures in the room. But that's not the boss. There's one where the boss is there, and it's like he's holding a shaft, but it's not a shaft. It's actually a private part.
Oh no, I don't have that one.
I sent you two different emails, Noreen. It was in the second email. That picture was.
Gosh. I know I didn't. I did the first 10 that you gave me. Now here's another one. Okay, here's an image. It's black background. This is 2062.
2062.
And it's a black
There's
background.
Joy in the picture there too. That's Joy. Go ahead and tell that one.
I got 2082.
There's 2062.
2062. That's me with the demon in front of me too as well. Someone else took that picture of me.
So
Yeah, she was.
go ahead.
I could tell. I told them to please take my picture. I felt like it was in front of me again, and then that's what came out when they took the picture. It just distorted my appearance.
All right, we have a question in chat. Noreen, ask. Hold on, guys. Don't go too fast. All right, Super Witchy wants to know. Noreen, ask if the world that her daughter was saying in a different language was Cadelia. No, but you said it was Portuguese, Joy.
I'm thinking it was Portuguese. I might be wrong, but.
Spooky wants to know, did Joy ever try and contact a Honduras shaman to try and help aid her family since it started from there? The attack started from there.
Did not.
You didn't. Did that ever come to your mind to do that?
No.
Okay.
I was really afraid. I was afraid of retaliation. I didn't even want them to know that I had told. I didn't know how tight knit this satanic group was or how far reaching it could be. I mean, I didn't want to reveal what had happened because look here, and I actually still am to some degree. It concerns me that I'm so telling this story.
You're still afraid?
I am.
That's why she always usually gets me to tell it.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank you so much, Joy, for coming on. They're really enjoying. Everybody is wishing you the best and prayers, and they're just really silent listening to your story. There is, let's see, what other picture do we have? There's another picture here. This is 2097.
That was a shadow man that was in her room, sitting in her chair, in my daughter's room. I just got a picture of it, and you can't really see anything but a black image of a person sitting there, and he's got his leg cocked up, kind of propped up.
Wow. Oh gosh. And then there's one more picture, 2107. I guess.
Yeah, that's the one that looks 3D. You know how it will look 3D when it come out the wall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took several pictures, and it concerned me too. I was always curious to know why was I able to video and take pictures and capture images of this thing. Why was it so strong, or why did it feel the need to show itself like this and allow me to capture it? Because it would seem to get angry if I revealed it, and it was allowing me to take pictures, and I didn't know how that was possible. I never understood that, because a lot of people don't have this kind of evidence.
No, I've never seen anything like it, and I was in awe when Jereme came on the first time, and I heard this story, and then he said that you wanted to come on the show and talk to everybody about this. Oh my God, it's...
The boss was very, very bold. I mean, look, like I say, it did not hesitate, to curse you audibly to where you could actually hear it in the house. It was very bold. I have dealt with several demonic cases since this, and the thing about a demonic haunting is usually when you go to a demonic haunting, things are fairly quiet because they don't want to be exposed. They don't want you to know that they're actually there. But the boss is the name that the girls in Joy gave it. It was very bold. I mean, to the T. Even when Joy actually went under possession, when we done the exorcism on her, I mean, it was bold to the end. Even with me, it had to give me that last stab in my heart, before it was finally expelled.
Joy, why you wrote the book? While you were writing this book, were you experiencing anything at that time?
I wrote this book in a hurry. I was really scared, because if you let down your guard, anything can let it back in, and I did not want that to happen. But I wrote the book to help anybody, possibly, that could be going through similar circumstances, know that they're not alone, because I felt so alone, and if I could have just reached out to someone who had experienced this or went through it before, I would have felt so much better, because I really thought I was losing my mind.
Has anybody ever contacted you telling them that they've had your same experience? I don't think they could, but...
Nothing similar, but, I've had people contact me, and I will talk to them, but you can try to reassure them that they're not crazy, but nothing to the degree that I went through, no.
I don't see how they could, because what happened to you in Honduras, I've never in my life... I couldn't believe it when Jereme was telling me that. I've never heard anything like that before.
I was told actually by some religious people that that was actually common in third world countries, the satanic rituals.
Maybe with their own kind. I mean, how many have they done it to Americans?
That makes you wonder. I don't know.
Oh, I have a question. Hold on. I saw that there was a question. Let me go back. Oh, gosh, guys. Okay, Linda wants to know, Noreen, ask her how she is progressing from now, and is it worse or better, and has anything helped so far? Is it still occurring?
No, that's all better. And my health has improved too. I mean, I still have Parkinson's, but I've greatly improved.
Oh, that, okay. Now, Jereme, what about an exorcism on Joy and a cleansing? Wouldn't that help her with her afflictions that she has?
Yeah, and that's what we ended up doing. The night that the Pentecostal preacher come, and after he got thrown to the ground, I had this brilliant idea that just popped in my mind for some reason. I said, Joy, did you bring back anything with you from Honduras? And she said, yes. I said, look, I want you to get everything you had in Honduras, your clothes, everything that you had on that trip. Go get it and bring it outside, and we're going to burn it. We're going to put it in a pile, we're going to put gasoline on it, and we're going to burn it. And so she went in the house, and she got everything, we put it in a pile. Now, people, when you're dealing with a demonic entity, and you think that it's attached to an object, please, for the love of God, never burn it, okay? Bury it in hollow ground or submerge it in water. But again, this goes to show you that I did not know what I was doing. We poured gasoline on it, and as soon as we lit the match and we threw it in the fire, a spark flew out of the fire and hit Joy in the back. At that moment, she went under full-fledged demonic possession, which means that entity had complete control of her body functions. Joy was just a passenger at that moment. Luckily, there was another minister there that night, which was a friend of Joy. I don't even know who said it. It said it's time. And we got Joy and we put her in a chair. Me and her husband is kneeling down in front of her, holding her arms down, and the other guy is performing the exorcism, okay? And Joy's strength became she became very powerful. She was able to pretty much lift us up off the ground as we were trying to hold her arms down. Now remember, this is a frail woman with Parkinson's disease. And the stench, the smell that comes from this woman's body was horrendous. It was like 1,000 rotting corpses in a sewer plant is what it smelled like. It was the most horrible smell you will ever smell in your life. And as me and her husband is holding her down, her eyes turned completely black. And I know this for a fact because I'll never forget it. Her eyes were completely black. And she looks at me. Now, let me explain something to you. A demon knows everything about you. It can see into your soul. It knows your deepest, darkest secret. Even as a demonologist or an exorcist, when you go on a case and you confront a demon, it will throw your dirty laundry out there for the world to know. That's why it's important to repent your sins before you take this type of case. Well, anyway, she looks at me. It's her voice, but it's not. Again, it's kind of like when Jana went under possession. It has that male sound to it. As a child, I had a nickname that I was tormented with that I hated as a child. People called me Romy, R-O-M-E-Y. I don't know why I thought it was so bad as a child because, I embraced it in my older age. Some of my friends still call me by that name. But it looks at me and it says, Romy, you can't help her. You think you can help her? You're nothing. You don't even love yourself. How do you think you're going to help her? And I'll never forget those words because deep down inside, I did hate myself in a way. I kind of hated who I was at the time. I was going through a transition from a that time, and depression was something that plagued me badly. And this entity knew this about me, which basically put the stake in my heart. And at that time, right after that, Peter had poured blessed oil down Joy's throat, and she immediately vomited. Now, it's not what you would think as vomit. It was more of a black, gooey substance more than it was anything. And she immediately went limp. And she sat down for a couple of minutes. Finally, she come to, and she had no recollection. She didn't remember anything. The last thing she remembered was that she was standing by the fire. Several days went by, and things were kind of quiet, but I remember contacting Joy about 3 days later to see how things were going, because I didn't hear from Joy, and I always thought if I didn't hear from her, that was good news. That means there's nothing to report, so I thought that was a good thing. So finally I decided to call her, and I asked her, Joy, do you think it's gone? And she said that, she hopes it is, but deep down inside she really doesn't think it is gone. And Joy would always tell me that she resented God. Now, this is something in general conversations that she would always say. She resented God because how did God allow this to happen to her? And that was a conversation we had pretty regularly. And she said that to me, and I don't remember if it was me that said this at this point or a higher power or what. But like I told Joy, I said, Joy, when you pray to God, you're praying to God as an empty shell. You're praying to God, but you still resent God. When you ask God for help, but you're not praying pure of heart. You have to be pure of heart, okay, if you want help. You have to feel all the love. I said, take all the love that you have for your children, your family, your husband, everybody that is important to you. Pull that love into your heart, because there's no greater positive force in this world than the power of love. Love is one of the most purest, positive energies you could ever come across. And negative does not stand a chance when it comes to that. I told her, pour it to your heart. Take that love and pray to God with that love. Feel God's love for you and ask Him to set you free.
Did you do that?
And He will.
Did you do that, Joy?
That's what she did.
Yeah, I eventually did. My faith was back and forth the whole time. I didn't have spiritual strength at all. I wasn't committed. And when I got that power back, I felt totally in control over it. I felt like I could tell it to leave me alone, and it would. And we ended up moving, and that's what we did. And my spiritual strength is still strong.
Then after that experience that you had, and Jereme witnessed all of this, what happened? What happened that night? When Jereme left the house and left you with you and your children, what did you experience anything that night, or was everything calm that night?
It was calm.
It was calm. And how are you doing today?
I'm good. We're fine. We moved to another town. We just got away from the whole area, and I think that was the best thing I could have done.
And you're not experiencing anything. How are your kids? Did anything happen to them? Did anything carry on with them?
No, they're fine now. I think the whole experience has left us sensitive, so to speak, to the spiritual world, and we're more aware of it now. But we don't entertain it at all.
Mm-hmm. So nothing's happening. Nothing's giving you nightmares or visiting you, or you're not seeing anything.
No, not at all.
Oh, that's really awesome. That's really wonderful. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add to the show tonight, Joy?
No, not really. Just if someone ever experiences anything of this nature, just please be careful who you reach out to, because we made so many bad choices, and the wrong people can come in and really make a mess of a situation like this. And we feel like that's what happened to us.
Now, Jereme, there is a question for you from a Jereme. In order for exorcism to be successful, does the person who is being exorcised have a belief in Christ or Christianity, assuming that he is using the Christian rite of exorcism?
Well, yes, it does. When you're doing an exorcism, the person that you're doing the exorcism on has to believe. Okay, they have to believe in Christ. But it can work on an atheist, someone that doesn't have a belief, because a lot of times when people go through these type of hauntings, you'd be surprised how fast they do come to Christ. But let's just say if you have a Wiccan that is under possession, then in fact you would have to do a Wiccan type ritual to be able to expel that entity, even though that entity may be a certain named entity as it would be in a Christian belief. But you have to understand a lot of the power from an exorcism comes from the belief that the person has in what you're doing. They have to really believe in what you're doing, for number one. And number two, they have to give themselves up 100%, or an exorcism will not work. In other words, if they have to be willing to get rid of this, to want this thing out 100%. An exorcism, or I call them a deliverance, because I'm not a Catholic priest, so I do not do exorcisms, I do deliverances. It's a very powerful ritual, spiritually. There's three parts to a deliverance. There's the actual expelment of the entity, and two, there is a cleansing process, which basically cleanses your soul. It basically baptizes you, is what it does. And then the last part of the deliverance is what you call spiritual healing, which is where you're able to heal those wounds that it created, and it basically gives you a new life. So it is a very spiritual, moving event that happens to someone. That is why it's very important to make sure before you do a deliverance on somebody that the person is not mentally ill, because if a person is mentally ill, it could create a third, what's the word I'm looking for? A third person, which means it'll give it a third personality. Schizophrenia and bipolarism very closely resemble what an actual possession is like. So you have to really evaluate the person's mental capacity before you would take that jump.
Joy and April would like to say something to you. She says, Joy, remember your name, and it reflects the light and love you have to offer. You have the light to share with others. The viewers have nothing but love for you, Joy, and they wish you all the best.
Thanks.
Okay, well, Joy, I wish you the best as well, and thank you so much for sharing your story and coming on my show tonight. I really appreciate it. I know it was hard for you, and but I really appreciate it, and the viewers really commend you for coming on the show and telling your story. And Jereme, thank you again for coming on the show and sharing this with Joy.
Oh, absolutely. If we could just touch one person's lives and let them know that they're not alone, that there is hope out there, and there's hope for them, then, it's worth it.
And, Justin wants to say to Joy, Noreen, please let her know that God and Christ are protecting her.
Oh, no, without a doubt.
Oh, wow. What a story. Again, I want to thank you both so much for coming on my show and sharing this with my viewers tonight. Thank you so much. God bless you, Joy. And thanks, Jereme, so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Joy, honey.
Bye.
Wow. Thanks everyone. We had a huge crowd tonight. We had 165 people in here tonight. And I really appreciate everybody coming here to the show. I hope you enjoyed it. And I did do a show with Jereme. I can't remember it. This show here, after it's processed, I'll put a link to the show that I did with Jereme. So if anybody wants to watch the other show. But when I had done the show with, when I aired the show with Jereme, she wanted to come on and tell her story. Bless her heart. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me tonight. Don't forget, I have, oh my gosh, I didn't bring my calendar in. Oh, next week's show, everybody, please send your well wishes to Joy and that everything stays okay for her, okay? Next week, my show was on the Corpsewood Manor, or Corpsewood Castle murders. Now, I had done a show on this previously, and the guest I had did not give the correct information on the show, and I got tons of messages on it and feedback on it. And someone had from that area, who is a sheriff, sent me a message and said, "Hey Noreen, I'd be happy to redo that show with you. I know the whole story. There was satanic rituals done on that property. It's all connected to the murders. It was a horrific murder done at this castle, and there's a big story with it." And he also sent me a CD. Now this CD contains real police file footage. Now I haven't seen it yet, and I'm going to go through it, and if I'm able to, I haven't seen it, but I will share those video clips from the real footage, because this was all done when the authorities were called up to the castle. This sheriff, and I believe it was his dad, was taking this footage, which is police footage, and I have a copy of it. All this footage of the murder scene, all kinds of stuff. So I will share that with you next week. And he wants to come on and tell the real story of these Corpsewood murders. So I hope you all join me next week. Okay. So can I do some shout outs? Okay. Aaron Kemp, April Keller, Royce, thank you for modding Royce. That Royce is my mod. Mama Joe Buffalo, Tina Nichols, Candy Roberts, Midnight Emirata, The Unseen Scene, Chipateria, Luciana Daly, Peach on a Leash, Margaret Harvorth, Trent, yay, you showed up tonight, yay, Lily Tulby. Okay, come on, there's still 137 left. Who wants a shout out? Justin Elias, yes, Justin. Butterfly Kisses, Nancy Suplavita, Linda Flygirl, Jimmy Cortez, honey, how you doing? Hope you're doing okay. Please, Jimmy had some more testing done. Please pray for Jimmy. Oh gosh, hold on, you guys, hold on. Joker SDN, Sandra Miller, Pamela Bocock, Super Witchy Gamer, Griffin Corcoran, L. Miller. Okay, guys, come on. Oh, oops. Kathy Salentro, Scott Lockwood, Tina Nichols, John Rad, Amy Jo Steele, Janet W., and Anita Ackerman, Wiccan Dove, Ginger Simmons, Michael Kane, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you forever. Sarah Farnham, Mum Tubi, William Sanders, The Batsinator, Russell Hingendorf. Yes, Russell, me. Does anybody else want to shout out? I love you guys. Thanks so much. Sean Days. Anybody else want to shout out? Am I missing anybody? Jereme Legas. Rebecca, that's me. Oh, thanks, Royce. Amy Jo Steele. I'm afraid to do that, Royce. Joy Warner. Kathy Salento. There's still 132 people left. Anybody else want to? Royce is such a sweetheart. Tina Jane Harris, Karma Carrara Brown, St. Augustine. Michael Caine lives in St. Augustine, and I know he wants me to do a show on that. All right, hold on. Oh gosh, okay, you guys went too fast for me. Mona Joy, Elaine Michael, Miss Ruth, Tiffany Twisted, L Miller. Anybody else? There's still 130 in here. Spooky Raven. Don't forget Spooky Raven show on Tuesdays. Anything but ordinary. She is on YouTube. Lily Villalobos. Hey, you know, guys, would you go over to my Facebook page, Paranormal Zone TV? It's Do You Believe fan page. Would you please go over there, Feathers Joe, and please give my page a like. I'd really appreciate it. Please, for those of you who are new to the show, Lucas Langner. Those who are watching for the first time, if you would please subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate it. Please give my show a like. I liked my show. I enjoyed it tonight. And I hope you did too. Does anybody else want to shout out? Anybody else want to shout out? There's still 129 watching. All right, everybody, have a wonderful weekend. We've been having beautiful weather. Oh, thanks, Royce. Thank you so much, Royce, for joining us tonight as well. And Royce, again, my mod. Thanks, everyone, and have a good night. Don't forget to come join me next Thursday. I got some really good shows lined up. So I don't have my calendar with me, but I do remember next Thursday. And everybody, Joy is on Facebook, and she goes by Marissa. And let's see, she goes by Marissa Stinson. And Jereme is also on. Oh my God, I forgot to tell you, they had their books. Oh gosh, here, I feel so bad. I don't know if you're interested, but let's see. Joy is Out of Darkness by Joy Stinson. Now hers is more on the religious side of it. And Jereme, his book is The Dwelling, The Dark Entity by Jereme Leonard. So and they are both on Amazon.com. Okay, I feel bad I didn't do that. So their books are on Amazon.com. Pretty interesting. I did read Jereme's when I did my first show. Oh, Andrew Cox. Where's Andrew? Andrew, there you are. Hi, honey. He's our truck driver. I hope you're driving safe. I heard there's lots of snow back east. Crystal Triplet. Oh, Crystal. You tonight too. Thank you. Okay, I'm exhausted now. So I'm going to go. And I wish you all a great evening, a great weekend. I'm excited about my weekend. My daughter's having company over for lunch on Saturday, and I'm going over there and I'm playing the maid while she entertains her company, and I'm cooking. So that should be fun. Okay, everybody. Love you guys. Be safe. Have a good week. Candy Roberts. I See Lies. Thanks, guys. L. Miller. Anybody else want to shout out? Teresa Torrey. Anybody else want? I see. You guys are starting to come in, and you didn't think I wasn't going to catch you, huh? No, I love you. You know, guys, I love you too, and thank you so much. Do you know this is my 7th year? In January was my 7th year for broadcasting. I've been around for 7 years. You probably didn't know that. I started off doing live paranormal investigations. I had a paranormal team. I used to be a paranormal investigator, and we used to go to historic locations. And we spent a lot of time on the historic USS Hornet. We were the designated official paranormal team for the USS Hornet, and we were the official team for the haunted historic Brookdale Lodge in Brookdale, California. And on Halloween's we would do events. I used to have so much fun. Oh my God, we had so much fun. But I had to stop doing paranormal investigations because too many things were happening. It is not safe. And no matter how much I protected myself, I had 3 attachments. I've had so many things coming into my home. It just wasn't a good situation, so I had to give it up, and I'm not sorry. And so I started doing live shows, and I've been continuing ever since. So anyway, and I will continue to do my broadcasting because this is what I love to do. I am not a professional. I'm just an amateur, and I do it because I love it. And sometimes people criticize me because they say I should do this and I should do that. But I am me. I'm not a professional. I do the best I can to do this for you guys, to bring you entertainment. And I'm not going to be a professional, but I'll do the best I can. All right? So with that, oh my God, and I have been through so many paranormal experiences. One day I'll do a show on it. And all this stuff started way back in the 1960s. So someday I will do that. Okay, so I love you guys. Higgy, oh, here, I caught you. Hold on. Higgy and Shine. What is this? Shine what is that? XOT Wood. I bet that's what it is. Shine XOT Wood. Okay, anybody else? All right. Sue. Ann A48126, and I know wasn't Annie Unique Annie in here tonight? Oh, Bunny, here, wait a minute. You want to see? Come here, Bunny's sitting right next to me. She sits next to me when I do my shows. Yeah, say hi, Bunzai. Say hi to everybody. Want to know? Oh, thank you. It's my baby girl. I don't know where my other one, I don't know where Luna is, but this one's Bunny. My Luna, I don't know where she is. Say hi, Bunzy. Okay, guys, Nebetseta, Allison Denise. See, I'm catching you guys, huh? Say hi, Bunzai. All right, everybody. This is Bunzy. Okay, so I'm going to go now. And I'll see you guys next week. Don't forget, come back and join me on. And also, if you want show reminders, go to my webpage, which I'm going to try and redo. I think Royce is going to help me. Go to ParanormalZone.TV and go into the email section and send me your email list and your email, and I'll send you out a reminder. Greta T. Did you guys get my my show reminder? Because I sent out 150, 200 of them. Did you get them? Smokey Harris. Did you guys get any of you that are left? Did you guys get my show reminder? Oh, Cash 3. Oh, Annie must have left. Okay. Yeah, my mouth is full of fur. Okay, guys. Good night, everybody. I love you. And again, thank you so much for joining me every week. And I've had a wonderful 7 years, and I will continue. I will continue as long as I can do this. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Oh, God, the fur. Thank you, and I'm going to say good night. Love you guys. Thank you. Love you.